Hello gainers, I'm Ralphie and welcome to my little channel called Fitter Philosophy, which is designed specifically for me, a more experienced person living life, to kind of pass on some of the stuff I've learned to others, because the more we engage with a shared experience, the more we connect through that shared experience. And it is surprising how many people around us in their own way can inspire us to lead a better life. And one of the skills in life is a certain amount of self-observation. But before we do that, it's really useful to get the contrast and compare from observing others. And this is something that is almost subconscious in the human condition, is to connect with other people through the lens of our own field of vision. In other words, we're looking outwards from within ourselves automatically, so on automatic pilot. And if someone's smiling and laughing and positive and funny and good looking and well off, we can find that inspiring, particularly when they treat us as equals. When we feel a bit poorer, a bit uglier, and our lives aren't so glamorous. But we can really change that significantly, and I'm going to give you a very good place to start, and that is by looking out for traits, general traits in other people, in the world around you, in the world around us, and divide it into two parts: the negative traits and the positive traits. We'll start with the negative, because it won't take long to explain 3 negative traits that you'll notice in other humans. And the first one is narcissism. It involves selfishness, intolerance, prejudgment, manipulation, sociopathy, and by and large, it tends to, in the majority of people, be benign. But particularly in the modern age, when people feel so incredibly entitled, you see the concentration of narcissism welling up in people to an extent they don't really notice it, because they're so used to living within themselves. They've just grown used to it. The obsession with appearance, of prejudging other people, of their superficial judgments on other people's net worth. That's a good way of putting it. Net worth, in other words, their physical trappings, watches, jewellery, expensive clothes, fancy car. And they use that as the point of reference. And the second thing that you really want to notice that's negative in people is their energy. Energy is a really big one, because you can't really describe it, but you'll definitely know it when you feel it. And the best way to feel it is not to look directly at someone specifically with your eyes, but just to kind of send your mind in towards them and just see what. And you're looking at the corner of your eye almost, and you're seeing what comes back to you. Is this person a positive person, a good person, or are they frequently quite a skillful actor or actress who is basically manipulating themselves to persuade you that they are safer than you think they are? And many people around us get caught up in putting on a performance. And this is why many people, many women and quite a few men now, are wearing cosmetics and manscaping or beautifying, plastic surgery, cosmetic surgery, Botox, all these relatively contemporary things to create an an avatar of oneself to hide one's true self. So when observing people, when you see that thick coat of makeup or the overly manicured, almost excessive attention to detail in men and women, that is a sign of negative energy, because they're trying to deflect from themselves. Could be two reasons. One, to lull you into a false sense of security, or alternatively simply to fool you completely and make you persuade that they are worth more and they are more than, through appearances, than they actually are. And a third negativity is behaviour. When negative people behave, they behave with negativity because it's programmed into them. And you see this in the behaviour of belittling other people, mocking other people, discriminating against other people, criticising other people, focusing on the negative in others rather than highlighting and bringing out the positive in others. And this is an absolute classic feature of negative energy, that they unconsciously send out what's happening inside them. And it's such a tragedy, because these people, wherever they go in the world, whatever they're doing, whenever the occasion, are always with themselves. And therefore that currency they have generated it's always there. They will fool less smart people. But the people they're genuinely trying to impress, the smarter people, the more centred, clued up people, they'll see right through it, because they've got plenty of practice in observing such traits. Now let's go on to the positive. 3 positives you'll find when observing people is, one is their mannerism, their politeness, their ability to listen. It's a collection of small things which we completely take for granted, but it is part of the positivity skills. The ability to listen attentively without interruption for a meaningful period of time. The ability to dress, not even smartly, but dress in a way that flatters them. So they've put some thought into it, but they're not bothered about budget. They're not bothered about the superficiality. In fact, often it's not so much what they wear, it's how they wear it, and also their physical condition for their circumstances and age. So you'll find that positive people simply exercise more, eat more sensibly, and look after themselves. Why? Because their first respect is to themselves, whereas the negative person, their first negativity is ultimately to themselves. A second situation you'll find with positive people is their ability to laugh comfortably and make you laugh too. A sense of humour is, negative people can have a sense of humour, but it's always sour, bitter and derogatory, ultimately, although it can start off quite funny. But with positive people, it always keeps you on side. It can be insulting, it can be demeaning at times, but it's always within context. And then finally, another attribute of positive people is what they bring into their life. Are they parasitic on others or on the system? Or do they put energy, effort and work into fostering and mentoring their own independence and investing in being a better version of themselves day after week after month? This is an attribute you will find in positive people. Positive people are very good at investing in themselves. And as they do, by reference to their direct company, we feel invested in and we feel motivated to invest in ourselves. So, to conclude, never for 1 minute underestimate the real benefits of good company. I assure you, I've witnessed over the years the downfall of people, usually not too bright, and usually victims of their circumstances, who kept what's called bad company. And the bad company used them, abused them, brought them down, and at times destroyed them, destroyed their lives with drugs, alcohol, or dangerous activities. Positive people, you can take a very modest person with no great aspirations in life, and you put them in the presence and surround them with positive people, and the mentoring that provides, and these people start to grow, and in their own ability, in their own context and framework, they become so much more than they used to be. In other words, part of the fundamental experience of life is growing rather than shrinking. And this is why we should always surround ourselves with positive people, because it's important. Bye-bye.